meaning. So I make sure,
Yeah.
I'm glad we're here.
So thank you so much for staying with us. I know that was longer than we intended. The board has met with our attorney and concluded that board policy and process was followed at the August 30th meeting. So thank you again for waiting for that declarative statement. At this time, there has been a discussion about amending the agenda. So who would like to make that motion?
I'd like to make a motion we amend the agenda to have a very brief final discussion on the bond issue.
Can I get a second?
Did you second?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Smith. The President
I'm sorry?
Village, don't forget discussion.
Yes, discussion.
Okay, thank you.
Discussion about,
Motion. I would really
Motion.
like to leave around 7.
Hearing that.
okay. So again, I think the
Okay.
discussion really is, this is in response to passionate plea to hear some information from Director Sharon, and the rest of us concluded Monday night that we would do so at this meeting in respect for a fellow board member. So we need a vote tonight.
President Village,
Aye.
Vice President Johnson.
Aye.
Director Mullen,
Aye.
Director Sharon,
Aye.
and Director Smith.
Pretty good. So you guys have in front of you just a very brief package. I handed this out last time. And these are clearly estimates. Some of the information comes from documents that Elizabeth handed out first, but I think I got them all in order. The first one is updated summary. The second page is the sheet that Elizabeth handed out, I believe, at the July meeting, which has all the nice type stuff. The handwritten stuff on the side is my scribble. The first page in there is my scribble actually typed up so that people can read it. And basically, trying to show here the estimate of what the passing this bond will be for various home prices in Manitou. Again, a lot of this information is, I feel, is more for the taxpayers than for the board, since the board has already voted to put this on the ballot. The lower half is in response to something that Elizabeth put, and I believe is still on the school website, that seems to imply that, well, it's clearly that a mill for Manitou is less than a mill for Academy. But if you put the students in there, which are the two right-hand columns on the type sheet, it shows that we're actually, and there's a lot of other things that go into this, but it shows that the Manitou is not necessarily under, I read that based on the numbers, that Manitou is not necessarily underfunded. The next page is from the county assessor's website that just shows that we have a frame of reference, the average commercial price. It's got a little map on it. The average commercial price in the school district is worth $416,061. The average residential price in the district is $409,767. So there's some frame of reference from the assessor that's no interpretation. This is from them, and I don't know if the date, September 15th. So this is after the last assessment, the certification that we got on August 25th. The following pages, I understand, have engendered some discussion, and I totally understand that because the initial sheets we got had some movement to it as well. So these are estimates from RBC, and RBC from other people I've talked to, specifically Dan O'Connell, have gotten high marks for the work that he's done with other districts. So that can be out there in the public forum as well. But the sheet that's got my scribble on it is the one that I'm hoping to look at just briefly. And so some of it's historical. So the top number where it says total, circle 2015, 47.555 is our total mill levy in 2000 that was collected in 2015 for assessment year 2014. Going on to the projection from 2022 to be paid in 2022, which is the first line that would have the additional bond fund in there. The total mill is estimated to be at 69.063. I understand there may be some movement in the certified assessment value from the assessor, so there's a bit of a caveat there. The only other thing, from my understanding, from looking at the financing that may move is the existing MLO/HH, which went from 30.054 in 20 billed in 2021, actually went down to 26.0 5.8, and I suspect, although I'm not an accountant, that the reason it went down is because our assessed value went up by 14.39%. If you multiply that out, which I don't expect you to do, you get roughly $4 million either way, which is what the board has moved forward historically, since the mill levy override amount is based on a board vote that takes place sometime later this year. The short version is, it looks like from these numbers, again, past is past, so those aren't projections. 2020, 2021 build in 2022 is probably pretty accurate. Looks like it's going to be a 30% increase in property taxes, and those numbers are shown on the right for the average house, which we put in there at 350, but we have new data from the assessor that shows what it is, that shows how much property taxes will go up based on those assessments that they made. So 30% is the number for a house. It'll be about average house, $466 for the first year is what I put in my notes. And for the average business, which is worth $416,000, that'll be about a $2,100
Do you have
increase.
that document?
These are just my notes.
Okay.
So the groundwork is on this side of the page, and I took my time to try to write it legibly, which is. So that's basically the numbers in brief. Any questions on that? I know that was very, very fast. I know there's discussion about the numbers. That's why I just went to 2022 to respect your opinion, because actually you're totally right that the numbers for next year, the numbers will probably be accurate as well, because there's not a reassessment. But if you look at the sheet on the left-hand side of the sheet, and I'm not smart enough to put it all on one sheet, on the left-hand side of the sheet, it shows no growth. Well,
I think the only thing that could change is we
Yeah.
get some infrastructure funding from the federal government. So if we
Okay.
were to somehow, we could get, I don't know, $50 million or something in infrastructure funding.
that'd be
from the
great for the
federal
taxpayers.
government. It would be fantastic, right? And so I just want to go on record as saying that this does not include any grant opportunities that are coming forward. It does not include refinance opportunities, and it does not include any additional growth in our community.
Yeah.
And so I just really want to go on record that you've tried to stick just to 2022, and even that is difficult to estimate,
Correct. I'd say it's based on the information that we currently have,
right? Which
which
is,
could change. I mean, everything
Which is
changes.
variable, yeah.
and then I'd also like to
Totally agree.
say that the ballot measure language that we have is, I think, the most accurate way to really disseminate what we're talking about in terms of what we're asking the voters to vote on this year.
Correct. $43 million with a maximum of $76.4 million.
Right. And we will work as hard as humanly possible to make that this last. Maximum. And I think we all agree with that. So.
So excellent points. Any other questions on those things? So I'll skip over the stuff on the website, because I don't know if that's germane without the election attorney here, and just jump into. So as you may or may not know, so pretty much all my time on the board that I've spent on this has really just been trying to get the numbers out. I actually haven't shared my opinion, which is interesting.
Except for the phrase not necessarily underfunded. I don't think we have an operational definition of funded or underfunded, adequately funded or underfunded. So I would say that point probably doesn't apply holistically, and that's more of an interpretation of the documentation rather than a statement of numbers.
What did I say?
You said it earlier in your,
What did I say?
you said
Sorry.
not necessarily underfunded when you were doing a comparison of this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, so
That's
just again,
interpretation.
yes,
Absolutely.
that's all.
So there's no, in my opinion, so this is not my opinion, we absolutely need a bond. There's stuff to get things up to code, ADA, there's fixes, there's roofs, there's HVAC, there's safety and security, there's new vestibules, there's roofs, I mentioned that twice. There's no doubt there's stuff done, there's educational areas that need to be upgraded. So I'm 100% in favor of a bond. In my opinion, this bond is probably at least $17 million too big, and I don't believe that the taxpayers can afford it. Bond capacity comes into question. Again, these are just my opinions. I'm not sure that.
Yeah, just cautious with the
I think
pros
we
and
need
cons
cautious
in the
with
campaign. Because you're saying your opinion, but as a board member right now.
Okay.
And we agreed just recently that we would be using as factual
Okay.
information as possible. So
Manitou is a small and generous district as reflected by previous votes.
indeed.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not about the bond specifically, so we can say that it's not pro con.
And so I think it'd be a fact to say that disruption will be significant during construction. That's actually on the pros and cons on the website as well.
What's your point of this?
The point is to,
Sounds like campaigning.
Right, the numbers is what you said you wanted to
Okay.
get out, the rest of it does
So
sound
for
like
additional
it could
pros
get
and
broken.
cons, please see the website.
Yeah.
Okay. hopefully we'll make it more robust. That's it.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Less than
Okay,
5
thank
minutes.
I actually wasn't looking,
Okay.
but Natalie
I
said
was
let's go to
looking, so I
dinner.
appreciate it.
Oh, somebody.
I decided to skip dinner. This is an excellent opportunity to do some intermittent fasting. So, from anybody else?
No.
All right, let's go ahead and ready to adjourn. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Thank you. Second. Vote please, ma'am.
President Vidovich,
Aye.
Vice President Johnson, Director Moen, Director Sharon,
Aye.
and Director Smith.
Aye.
Thank you to staff. For,
Yeah, thanks for
adding
staying
this-
around. Sorry about that.
Adding this to your extra meeting, your week. So I appreciate you all.
Oh, I just didn't know if you'd seen it or. if not.
Sorry for that.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.